My name's Bayou. I'm 26, and I work as a freelance videographer. A few months ago, I landed a project to shoot a short documentary in one of Borneo's deepest rainforests, said to be untouched and barely explored. I saw it as the perfect chance to capture some amazing footage, and maybe something mysterious for extra clicks. I didn't go alone. I brought two friends with me, Ryan and Dita. They're an outdoorsy couple who've climbed more mountains than I can count. Survival gear, GPS, camera rigs, drone, everything was packed and ready. We entered through a narrow trail in central Kalimantan. According to a few locals, that path led into a forest that people don't normally go into. They said the forest had a guardian. Of course, we thought that was just folklore. Scary stories meant to keep people out. The first day went smooth. The jungle was dense, wild, but beautiful. Birds chirping, insects buzzing, leaves rustling in the wind. It felt like being in a nature documentary. We even found a small crystal-clear river and stopped to rest. Filming some B-roll. Ryan laughed and shouted, "Feels like no one's ever been here." Dita giggled, and I just smiled. But deep down, I felt uneasy, not scared, just something was off. That night, we pitched our tents near the river. After dinner, we talked a bit and checked some of the footage. Around 9 p.m., we all went to sleep. The air was cool, and the sound of the forest was calming, until around 2 a.m. I woke up, no dream, no reason. My eyes just snapped open, and that's when I heard it. Crying, but not like someone sobbing normally. It was raspy, like someone crying with a torn throat, like they hadn't stopped crying in days. My first thought was, Dita? But when I peeked out of my tent, I saw the shadow of two people still sleeping in theirs. So, who was crying? I froze, trying to make sense of it. Maybe an animal? But the more I listened, the more human it sounded, and the closer it seemed. It wasn't just sadness in the cry. There was anger, like someone was mourning, and blaming someone at the same time. My heart was racing, but curiosity pushed me. I grabbed my flashlight and unzipped my tent quietly. The forest looked still. I turned on the light and pointed it toward the trees. The crying stopped. Silence. And I mean dead silence. No insects, no wind, no birds, nothing. Goosebumps ran down my arms. I slowly turned the flashlight in every direction. It only reached a few meters ahead. Beyond that, it was pitch black. A thin mist had started to roll in between the trees. The air felt heavier. Something or someone was watching. I felt it. Not saw, not heard, just felt, like eyes behind my back. I quickly turned around and pointed my flashlight. Nothing. When I turned back, I thought I saw something, just a blur, like a shadow zipping between two trees. I ran back into my tent and zipped it up fast. I crawled into my sleeping bag, covering my head like a scared kid. My heart was pounding. I tried to breathe slowly, convincing myself it was just my tired brain messing with me. But that cry, it felt too real. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, just lay there with my eyes closed, trying not to listen. But the forest stayed quiet, too quiet, like it was holding its breath. The next morning, I didn't tell Ryan or Dita what happened. I just said I had trouble sleeping because of the cold, but I knew deep down, we weren't alone in that forest. There was something else out there, and whatever it wasn't finished crying. The sun barely rose that morning. A thin fog still hung in the trees as we packed our tents. The jungle felt different, less alive. The usual jungle chorus, birds, bugs rustling leaves, was quiet, like it was waiting for something. I kept glancing into the trees, half expecting to see someone, or something, staring back. I didn't tell Ryan or Dita about the crying last night. I didn't want to freak them out. Maybe it was just a nightmare, a very real one. But deep down, I knew it wasn't a dream. Around 10 a.m., we started walking deeper into the forest, following the same narrow trail. But after a while, the GPS began to act weird. The screen kept freezing, and the signal was unstable. Dita joked, "Maybe the jungle doesn't like tech." Ryan laughed it off, but I was starting to feel uneasy again. Then we saw it. A small path, barely noticeable, split off to the right. It wasn't on the map, no signs. It looked like it had just been cleared recently. The dirt was fresh, like someone had walked through it not long ago. "Should we check it out?" Ryan asked. "I don't know, man," I said. "It's not on the route, but that's why it's interesting," Dita added. "Come on, just a quick look." Against my better judgment, we followed it. It curved and dipped, twisting through thick brush and fallen branches. After about 20 minutes, we stepped into a clearing and froze. There was a village. Old wooden houses stood quietly under the trees. The place looked abandoned, but not ruined. It was like everyone had left in a hurry and never came back. Clothes still hung on lines. A rusted bicycle leaned against a post. Pots and pans were still sitting near a well. "Why isn't this on the GPS?" Ryan mumbled. "Maybe it's just some old remote village?" Dita guessed. We split up to look around, still close to each other. I stepped inside one of the houses. The door creaked loudly, echoing in the empty air. Inside, dust floated in the sunlight, slicing through the wooden slats. On the wall, there was a painting, or more like an old, hand-drawn portrait. It showed a woman. Long black hair, pale face, her eyes completely black. No pupils, no whites, just two dark orbs. She was crying, but not just tears. Her tears were red, painted like blood. The expression on her face made my stomach twist. I touched the frame gently, brushing off the dust. Then I heard it, that same crying, right in my ear. I spun around, nothing. I rushed out of the house. My heart was thumping so loud it echoed in my head. Dita was standing nearby, pale. She looked at me and said quietly, "You heard it too, didn't you?" I just nodded. She pointed to one of the windows at the back of the house. "I saw someone watching you. A woman. Her hair was long. But when I blinked, she was gone." Ryan ran over with the camera. "Guys, look at this." He showed us a recording he'd just taken of the village. But the screen was black. No image, no audio. Just static. "But I just recorded this," he insisted. "The file exists, but nothing's in it." We stood there in silence for a moment. Something was seriously wrong here. Then we checked the GPS again. It had completely glitched. Our position wasn't even on the map anymore. It was like we didn't exist. Like we had stepped off the edge of the world. "I think we should leave," I said. "Now," Dita added. We backed away from the houses, retracing our steps toward the original trail. But the weird thing was, we walked for almost an hour, and the main trail never showed up again. It was like the forest had shifted, like it wanted us lost. We finally decided to camp again near a dry riverbed before the sun went down. Nobody said much during dinner. We were tired. But more than that, we were shaken. That night, I kept hearing soft whispers outside the tent, like distant voices arguing, crying, then a loud snapping branch. But I didn't go out. I couldn't, because I knew if I looked, she'd be there, waiting, and I didn't want to know what she'd do if I met her eyes. I don't remember falling asleep. One moment I was lying there, listening to the soft rustling outside the tent, and the next I woke up to dead silence, the kind that makes your ears ring, like the whole world had paused. I checked my phone, 2:04 a.m. Of course, and then the crying started again, but this time it was different. It wasn't coming from a distance. It was right outside the tent, right at the flap, like someone crouching there, crying softly, breathing heavily, a wet, guttural sob that sounded like it came from a mouth filled with blood. I froze, every muscle in my body locked. I didn't even dare to blink. I held my breath, hoping, praying it would just go away, but then I saw it. A shadow moved across the tent wall. A head, long dripping hair, and fingers. No, not fingers, claws. They scratched the side of the tent slowly, not hard, just enough to let me know it was there, listening, feeling. I was paralyzed, and then it whispered my name. "Bayou!" I couldn't believe it. I thought I was hallucinating, but the way it said my name, broken, cracked, familiar, like someone who used to know me. "Bayou, help me!" My mouth went dry. My heart was racing so fast it hurt. Then the zipper of the tent moved, very slowly. Click, click, click. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, just stared as the zipper inched downward until it suddenly stopped. Dead silence again. Then Ryan shouted, "Go away!" His voice cut through the silence like a knife. The shadow vanished. The crying stopped. I burst out of my tent and found Ryan outside, holding a flare. Dita was clutching his arm, shaking. What did you see?" I asked. Ryan didn't answer right away. He looked pale, like he'd seen something worse than death. "She was watching us from the trees," he whispered. She was smiling. We didn't go back to sleep. We sat in a tight circle until the sun came up. The moment light touched the trees, the feeling of dread slowly faded, but we didn't talk. We just started walking, anywhere, hoping to find the original trail again. Hours passed. No signal, no path, no sound, just us and the never-ending forest. Then out of nowhere, Dita stopped. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. We all listened. A baby crying, in the middle of a jungle. "No," I said, "we're not doing this again. We're leaving." But the crying got louder, closer. We ran. Branches slapped our faces. Roots grabbed our ankles. The forest didn't want us to leave. I swear it felt like the trees were closing in, pushing us back. The crying followed us, echoing through the jungle like a siren. Suddenly, we broke through the trees. Back to the trail, back to sunlight, back to real jungle sounds. We fell to our knees, gasping for air. It was over, or so we thought. Back in town, we didn't tell anyone. We just packed our gear, transferred what footage we had, and flew back to Jakarta the next day. We checked all our recordings, all the footage from the village, gone. Only corrupted files, static and black frames, as if something didn't want us to remember. But I do remember, and every now and then, when I edit late at night, I still hear that crying in my headphones, exactly at 2:04 a.m. Well, that was the chilling story of the crying forest deep in Borneo, a place where some things are better left alone. Whether you believe it's just a ghost story or maybe something more, one thing's for sure. Next time you hear a strange cry in the night, maybe think twice before you go looking. Because out there, in the dark, some voices aren't meant to be heard, and some mysteries never want to be solved. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss more spooky stories like this. Stay safe, and remember, keep the lights on tonight.